pieces of candy. Oh, pieces of candy. Oh, pieces of candy. Oh, pieces of candy. Welcome to lame predictive predicates. Let's see if you can connect the dots too.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary. Because the fact of the matter
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary. Came right out of his mouth. That was the moment U.S. Senator Alex Padilla prompted his removal from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's news conference in Los Angeles yesterday. Likely you've seen it from all kinds of different angles. In fact, video to our monitors offer another angle of what happened. See the camera panning over here. You can see authorities forcing the senator out of that room. And then this angle shows him going right down to the ground, being cuffed. Padilla says he was just trying to ask Noem a question before the Q&A part of that presser. After the scuffle, Padilla spoke to our news teams. Here's what he had to say.
if this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing throughout California and throughout the country.
Following breaking news here in Manhattan, where New York City mayoral candidate and the city's controller, Brad Lander, was just detained at immigration court. Brad Lander's wife, Meg, posted this video to his account showing him being handcuffed in a federal building. NBC's Julia Ainsley is reporting. Julie, we just came off a conversation about Senator Padilla and his speech on the Senate floor after he was handcuffed. But what happened here?
Well, in this case, the Comptroller, Brad Lander, we understand, was walking arm in arm with an immigrant who had just had his case dismissed, but ICE was looking to arrest him. This is something I've seen time and time again, where the federal court system might say this person should not be detained, but ICE arrests them again on immigration charges. So in this case, they say that the Comptroller, Brad Lander, was in the way, and so they moved to arrest him, or detain him, rather. It's not clear if he's been charged or exactly what has happened in the meantime. We have reached out to ICE and DHS for comment, and we have not heard back. But this is exactly the kind of conflict and clash that we saw previewed by Tom Homan, the border czar, saying that if local officials get in the way of ICE immigration operations, they will be arrested. And that's exactly what you're seeing here happen in real time, Chris.
But I want to make sure that I understand, because you said you've seen this before. An immigrant goes to court. His case is dismissed, meaning what the judge decides is that he should not be detained. And yet when he's being walked out because the judge has ruled in his favor, there's an arrest because ICE wants to take him into custody in spite of what the judge said?
This is confusing because there are two different systems at play here. So an immigrant can go to federal court where they may have been charged with a federal crime, entering the country illegally. A federal judge, which is part of the judicial branch, will say this person should no longer be in the custody of the U.S. Marshals. Then ICE can arrest them on an administrative immigration crime simply for being in the United States illegally, or really just because they can. Sometimes they're arresting people who have asylum cases still pending, but they're withholding them. This is something that we may see come up in a lawsuit in the future. But right now, time and time again, ICE is going into federal court after a judge says this person cannot be detained by U.S. Marshals, and then ICE detains them because that federal judge is only talking about that they can be in, whether or not they can be in the custody of Bureau of Prisons or U.S. Marshals, not ICE.
Julia Ainsley, thank you so much. Your expertise invaluable here.
So last week, when I heard something so blatantly un-American from the Secretary of Homeland Security, a cabinet official, of course I was compelled, both as a senator and as an American, to speak up. But before I could even get out my question, I was physically and aggressively forced out of the room. Even as I repeatedly announced I was a United States senator and I had a question for the secretary. And even as the National Guardsman and the FBI agent who served as my escorts and brought me into that press briefing room stood by, silently, knowing full well who I was. You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance. I was forced to the ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest. And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why. I pray you never have a moment like this. But I will tell you, in that moment, a lot of questions came to my mind. First of all, where are they taking me? Because I know I'm not just being escorted out of the building. Am I being arrested here? And what will a city already on edge from being militarized think when they see their United States senator being handcuffed just for trying to ask a question? And what will my wife think? What will our boys think?